Hey folks, Will here again with Happily Ever Outdoors. So in this video, we're gonna be whipping up some Canteen Cup French dip sandwiches. Just keep watching. All right folks, so this is gonna be a super easy recipe. Honestly, I don't know if you could even call it a recipe per se, but it's something that's really nice. It really kind of gives you a taste of home, you know, feels a little bit fancier, and for days like this where it's been kind of stormy and wet and nasty all day, it's still kind of cool, a little bit breezy. It gives you something nice and warm in your stomach. So definitely something really nice, really satisfying after a long day out on the trail or playing around in the woods. So check it out. So there's just a few simple ingredients that we're gonna need to get this thing started. Number 1, water. Number 2, beef au jus powder. Number 3, bread. Now it's always better if you go with a good piece of bread. These are a couple nice little loaves I picked up from the deli the other day, and that's really gonna make the difference in the flavor. Number 4, roast beef. Now you can always go a little bit fancier, pick up some, you know, freshly sliced stuff from the deli. This is just some good old-fashioned Hillshire Farms roast beef lunch meat, and this stuff is still really good flavor right here. Nice and easy, just grab and go. Number 5, cheese. Now this isn't necessarily a necessity, but I love a little cheese on my French dip, so I'm a Swiss man. You can get whatever works for you, but it just adds that nice little bit of extra texture and flavor to it. And lastly, we're keeping it simple, so I'm just going to use a little bit of olive oil and some Italian seasoning. All right, folks, so I got a brand new little cook set we're going to be working with today that I put together, and this is going to be the Ember Lit Fire Ant. Pretty cool. I was able to find this little canteen and matching canteen cover, and the pocket is the perfect size to hold my Ember Lit Fire Ant, so it makes for an awesome little canteen cook kit. So let's go ahead and get this thing put together. All right, so that was super quick and easy, and this thing is ready to go. It's nice, lightweight, compact. And what's cool about this, I think we'll be all right. It's been kind of wet today, but I've got my full fire kit with me with plenty of tinder and stuff to get me going, so I think we'll be all right. But you can also use fuel cubes with it if you don't have good tinder, or you can't, you know, burn that kind of a fire. It's got a little shelf you can set in there for using fuel cubes, or it's also compatible with the Trangia Spirit Burner. Fits right in the slots right there, so you've definitely got multifunction there. So if we have any issues, I can't find enough dry wood to really get this thing going, we have that option as well. But I think we'll be all right, especially because this thing is so compact. You only need to get a little fire going, and it really focuses the heat. So like I mentioned earlier, I came prepared. I've got plenty of dry tinder to work with, so I'll go ahead and take some of this birch bark that I had stored up, and we'll drop that in there. And by the way, when you use stoves like this, whether it's this Ember Lit Fire Ant or the original Ember Lit, the bigger version basically of this stove, the best way to really get it started, honestly, is you just kind of pack it full of your tinder and all that good stuff. Just load it up, and then we'll go ahead and we'll just grab, there's plenty of sticks all around here, some of these small sticks, and just kind of cram this thing full. So that way, when we get that initial flame going, this thing should really just kind of take off, and then we'll be able just to kind of gradually stoke it from there, keep it going. And it doesn't really require a lot of dry wood. You get to use basically a lot of the stuff you would normally just use as like tinder for getting your fire started, and that becomes like all you need to keep this thing going. Again, just because it focuses and concentrates the heat so much. So when you're doing something like this, just cooking with a Canteen Cup, it's perfect. Just gives you what you need with really no wasted fuel. Not gonna try to do anything fancy, no super survival techniques, just a good old-fashioned lighter. And truth be told, there ain't nothing wrong with that. So you can see with that tinder I got there, it's just taking off nice and easy. And we'll just let that get going nice and good. And what's cool with a stove like this, at least until it heats up all the way, you can just pick it up in your hand and you can kind of turn it to let the fire breathe as much as possible until it really gets going good. All right, we got her going pretty good now. Once she gets going, she pretty well stay going for you. You just got to make sure you keep feeding it. Definitely getting a lot of smoke, but that's kind of to be expected since a lot of what we're using here isn't really completely dry. Let's just tidy up a little bit, and we'll just give this again a few minutes to really get going, and then we will get our water started. So while we're waiting for that, I'll just tell you guys a little bit about this little canteen setup I got. I did some looking around, and I was really trying to find a stainless steel canteen cup set, and I wanted one that had a lid too, which I was able to find this one from Rothco, which I really like so far. I haven't really put it to use yet, as you can tell. This is kind of like the maiden voyage for this thing, but from first impressions, I'm really liking it. And I was also able to find this canteen from Nalgene, which is just like your standard size, like GI, mil-spec canteen, but it is BPA free. It's made out of better plastic. This is still going to be really impact resistant and everything. Not going to have to worry about it breaking. Comes in different colors, but it doesn't give you that weird taste either like you get with the GI canteens. So I'm really liking this thing so far, and again, it's nice because it's compatible with a lot of the mil-spec style stuff, such as this inexpensive little canteen cover I was able to pick up also from Rothco. And I like, again, it has that big pocket on the front, which is nice because the Ember Lit Fire Ant will fit inside there along with some other stuff you want to stick in some fire cubes or whatever. It's actually got a lot of space, so worked out really, really nice. All right, I think that's about going good enough that we can throw our water in there. I'll just stick a few more little twigs in there to make sure this thing stays going strong. Be careful, that stove does get very, very hot, so you don't want to bump your fingers against the sides of it once it's really going. There I go, dropping a little dirt in my water, right? Adds to the flavor. All right, so we'll go ahead and get that situated on there, push it down, make sure it's nice and stable. But you can see this Ember Lit is just about the perfect size for a canteen cup like this. You just got to get situated on there, and we'll let that thing sit and heat up for a while. All right, guys, while that's warming up, we'll go ahead and start getting our bread prepped up. And I'm just going to make one sandwich just for me, so I'll actually go ahead and save this roll for later. But, working with what I got here, one pack of meat, you got plenty really to do 2 big old sandwiches for 2 people. Oh, look, ants are trying to show up on us a little bit. Spring is finally here, right? Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go ahead and try to kind of split this. Not all the way in 2 halves, just kind of open it up, kind of like a hot dog bun or hoagie roll or something like that. Get that ready, and we're gonna try to see if we can get a little bit fancy here and try to toast this thing using my little stove here. We'll see how that works out. All right, now you can certainly use butter for this if you chose to. I'm just using a little olive oil. Oh, got a little carried away there. That's all right. And I'm just kind of brushing this into the bread just a little bit. I think that'll add a little bit of a nice flavor. Don't have to try to go like full coverage, totally saturated. That's not what I'm going for here, but. And that's all I'm really gonna do with that. Nothing fancy. This should get a nice flavor though once we get everything going here. I like to pick a nice bread that's a little bit crusty, so you've got a little bit of strength to it, you know, and it's not gonna get all totally soggy and gross because, oh yeah, by the way, there's basically two schools of thought when it comes to French dip. Some people like to put the meat on there dry, and then you would just dip the sandwich that way. Some people, the people who do it the right way, take the meat and get that cooked up in the juices, throw it on there nice and sopping wet, and then go ahead and dip on top of that. And that's the school of thought I come from. I'm trying to bring my wife over from the dark side, but she's been kind of fighting me on it. So maybe a few more years we might get there where we come together on that. But for right now, the only time, unfortunately, I get to eat it the right way is if I fix it up for myself, or I go hide in the woods and cook my own batch. So there you have it. All right, guys, we're starting to come along here slowly but surely. Need to go ahead and stoke this thing up a little bit more. Kind of died down on me while I was playing around with that bread. But this stove is definitely, really efficient. Once you get it going, it burns really, really efficient. But you do have to attend to it for sure, just because of the size. You get a very small, efficient fire going, and but it'll start, consuming that fuel pretty quick if you don't watch it. All right, we've got that stoked back up pretty good again, so I think we should be all set. And now my full-time job is going to be attending to this stove. I'm not going to let myself get distracted. Isn't that a nice feeling, by the way, to get out in the woods and for that to be your only responsibility? The only thing you have to worry about is keeping a camp stove going. Oh, I love it. That must be one of my favorite things about the outdoors, honestly. Freedom! And you know what? I don't know why I'm making this harder on myself. We'll go ahead and throw our lid on there too, and that'll help the water heat up a little bit faster. Now, for what we're doing, unless you were using like stream water, you don't need to really bring this to a boil. But I'm just trying to get it good and heated up because otherwise this powder is going to try to get kind of all like clumpy and weird if you try to put it in there when the water's too cold. So we're just getting it nice and hot, and then we'll be ready to get this started, and it'll be done really before we know it. Yeah, that lid's definitely making a difference, guys. So if you're ever messing around with Canteen Cup cooking, I definitely would say I would look for one with a lid, or try to pick up an aftermarket lid if you can find one, because when it comes to boiling water, it's going to make it a lot quicker and a lot easier. All right, guys, I think we're about hot enough. We're not to a boil yet, but we're hot enough we can go ahead and get our jus juice in there. Get that started. Oh yeah, I think that's gonna work out nice. It looks like it's about right too for a Canteen Cup 1-pack. I think it'll be just about perfect here. Grab our little spork, and we'll go ahead and mix that. Yep, that's mixing up nicely. No big clumps or nothing. Oh man, that smells really good too. All right, that's going nicely, getting nice and warm. And now we will move on to the most important step. Regardless of what my wife Melissa tells you, this is where it's at. This is the trick. This is the key right here. Gonna open up our pack of roast beef right here, and just go ahead and drop it right in there. You can see why I didn't fill that canteen cup all the way to the top in the beginning there, right? I was thinking ahead a little bit. So we'll save room for our beef. So I'm just gonna use half a pack right there. Again, if it were 2 of us eating, I'd probably use the whole pack, but that should be plenty for 1 sandwich. And then we're just gonna let that sit and absorb the flavor for a little bit here. Now everything here is, already cooked. There's nothing to worry about bacteria-wise and everything. This is just letting it warm up. And if you let the roast beef sit there for a while, you're just gonna get better flavor that way. Okay, now we're gonna see if we can get fancy and try to toast this bread without burning it. Now, full disclaimer, this is my first attempt here. I just kind of had this idea on the way out, and I think it's gonna work. So I'm just gonna use the lid to my canteen cup and see if I can just lean this bread up against the stove. And I think we should have enough heat here that we could at least get a light toast on it. We'll see how it works. We'll see if my theory is correct. But I'm gonna go ahead and stoke the stove up a little bit too, so we get plenty of heat to help with our toasting process here. Throw a few more branches in here. What I did, I went and looked around a little bit, and I found, yeah, that's trying to die on me again. Man, come on. I found some dry branches that were still on the trees, dead branches, real low, and I think that'll give us something a little drier, something that's gonna burn a little bit easier. All right, we kind of got that up and going again. Let's get everything resituated. And at this point, the only thing I'm really having to watch is this bread. This roast beef is just gonna take care of itself, but I'm just trying to watch this, so hopefully I don't get too much of a char on it. A toast is what I'm going for, not a char. Go ahead and hold that back. Whew, man, that really got going now. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot my seasoning. Can you believe that? Now this is just a mixed Italian seasoning. I forget what all is in there. I just like to add a little bit of seasoning to there. You don't need it if you don't want it, but I like it. And you know what? I think I will actually go ahead and throw a little bit of pepper in there too. Just mix that in. All right, let's go ahead and get our cheese ready. And I'm just gonna use 1 piece. I don't think it really takes a whole lot for this. Yeah, no, I'm stick with 1. Because I wanna leave some bread surface open to soak up all that juice. All right, so not super crazy toasty, but definitely got a little bit of toast on there. We'll go ahead and throw our cheese on here. And this is my favorite part right here. Just go ahead and scoop some of that out. Get a handle on it. Just start piling it up. Might have got a little carried away on the quantity of the beef here, but that's all right. Better safe than sorry. A little dirt never killed anybody, right? And then I'm just gonna go ahead and just throw a little bit more on there. I like it nice and juicy. We are ready to rock and roll. Baby. All right, look at that, guys. Oh, look at that, still steaming. Oh man, this looks so good. All right, so we'll go ahead and close it up. That's just the way it should be, juice dripping out all over the place. Yeah. So good. Man, I love a good French dip sandwich. What's awesome is you can keep that little stove going, so you can set your Canteen Cup of your au jus on there and dip it in there. Look at that. Oh yeah. Oh, that's hot. So good. Man, guys, this is so good. And I love it because it's something that's so simple and it's easy, right? Like, it's not really that impractical to cook when you're out in the woods. And it just tastes so good. Plus, again, even on a cooler day like this, you've got a little bit of breeze. We're actually getting close to dusk right now. And so it's definitely starting to cool off. But it gives you something nice and warm and hearty in your stomach. You got that like rich, beefy flavor, a little bit salty. Just really kind of energizes you, just makes you feel good. And wash that down with a good soda. Bigfoot approved. Oh man, it's a match made in heaven. Oh. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I know I've enjoyed making it. But if you've got any questions about this video, or maybe you've got an idea, something you'd like to see us cook, feel free to drop that in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, I hope you'll do so you can keep seeing more videos like this. Until next time, stay happy, stay outdoors.